Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans are on a bye week. Yeah, that's right. Week 6, a little bit earlier than last season. Last season, they were on a bye week around week 14. So, this year, way early, week 6, and this year, it feels like either fans either wanted to be week 14 or we're already there at week 14. The way the season is kind of going. And so I guess it's time for everybody, players and fans alike, to just kind of take a breather a little bit and just kind of, you know what I'm saying, reflect on the ups and downs of the season so far and how the things are going to look going forward. So I'll get into all that on what's going to happen. Um, First, I want to do this little game recap. So Texans beat the Baltimore Ravens on the road. The first time ever that they've beaten Baltimore on the road, like in the Ravens Stadium. I believe going into that game they were like 0-8. So that's pretty crazy to just really think about, but a huge feat for them, and it just seems like the perfect time for them to do this if they were going to pull it off. Both teams are 1-3, going through their different struggles. Baltimore probably more so than the Texans, and that was before the loss. They had a ton of injuries going on with them, and so a ton of injuries going on. So it pretty much has kind of affected the Ravens' play, and it made them look like a worser 1-3 team, if that's what worse is a word, a worse 1-3 team than what the Texans are as a 1-3 team. So with that being said, both teams still had to come out there and play. So uh, one takeaway, passing game excelled in this game. CJ Stroud, season high 244 yards, threw 4 touchdowns, no picks, still got sacked twice. So even though there's small improvements with the offensive line, um, there's still there's still the need to protect the quarterback, and so that's something that the offensive line and CJ are going to have to work out going on down the line. Um, a big feat, and mind you, another big feat in this game. Xavier Hutchinson, he had his first 2 career touchdowns in this game, like his first two in this game. So mind you, Hutchinson, he's kind of been around a couple years. I would probably say he might have came in with CJ or right after John Mechie or whatever, but yeah, he's definitely been around. So glad to see him finally get that rewarded to him. Another Iowa State product, Jalen Noel, um, Jay Noel. He actually got a touchdown in this game. Uh, that's the Russian. Okay, receiving. Yes, he actually got a touchdown in this game as well. I believe his first career touchdown also. So big ups to the Iowa State products doing their thing in here. So yeah, passing game excellent in the air. Running game a little bit. It's kind of a solid outing, just like last week. No Woody Marks as the forefront. Of the production. This week it was Nick Chubb, who had 11 carries, 61 yards, and a touchdown. So shout out to Nick Chubb handling his business. Woody Marks had, 7 carries, 24 yards. And you know what I'm saying? That's cool. I kind of like this 1-2 punch that we got going on right now. We'll see how this kind of goes, and it kind of holds us over until Joe Mixon may or may not come back, whatever word they got on that. Defense held their they held their mark again. I don't know what I wrote down here, but they definitely held things down once again, as they have all year. Um, EJ Speed led the way with 6 tackles in total, followed by Tua Totu, who had 5 tackles. Um, Jalen Petrie, another great performance this week. He had 2 picks in this game. Um, let me see. Mario Edwards, he had a sack in this game as well. Kamari Lester, he also had a pick in this game. So a very solid effort by the defense. I don't think they get enough credit um, for what they've been doing all year. And that's just, because I mean, the main offense, you know what to say, offense sells tickets, defense wins championships, yada, yada, yada. And so the, I guess the people selling the tickets, they're not giving them money's worth right now. So it's became more the biggest story and everything. But another solid performance by the defense. Showcasing multiple members of that unit handling business. So, um, just to wrap up this game recap, I know a lot of people, there was some people that were happy that the Texans got a second straight win. There was some people that were kind of like, it's the Ravens. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I'm in the former group. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm ecstatic that the Texans were able to pull off two straight wins because you know what I'm saying. As I said in the last episode, like you know what I'm saying, this team is actually putting something positive on film that they can watch and they can build off of. You know what I'm saying? So, the first three games, it was like, what are y'all doing? You know what I'm saying? It was just messy. And so now you have two complete positive games that you can watch and just be like, okay, this is where the improvement is coming in. This was something that we can really build off of to carry us through this season. So definitely I'm definitely happy for this win, excited, ecstatic for this win. If anything, if it doesn't look like it, it's because I worked an 8-hour day today, so I'm probably gonna be sluggish about a lot of topics right now. But I'm trying my best. I'm pushing through all that good stuff, man. And I'm probably naturally chill also, so that has something to do with it as well. But yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I'm taking this win no matter who they play. You know, so definitely shout out to the Texans, man. Really held it down. Defense held it down. Offense held it down, and it's coming along. So with that being said, it's time to get into what this season has actually been. And so, as far as like expectations, Texans have met none of those. It's been it's been a 2-3 season. This team has been through the ringer on a lot of things. And particularly the biggest story has been like um, the slow and uh, disastrous start of the offense. A lot of it has been tied to, what I'm saying, the offensive line. What I'm saying, and that's trickled down to different areas, obviously, to the quarterback position. And so, for the quarterback, if the offensive line can't get right, quarterback can't get right, offense can't get right. So, they'll find themselves in a lot of in the lower end of a lot of offensive categories. So, as far as that goes, it's kind of overshadowed what the defense has actually done this year, and the defense has been great. Let's see if I can pull up some numbers real quick, but um, this has been one of the top units um, in the league, pretty much just about every category. So um, we'll get into all that on that. Then we'll get into the season outlook. So first things first, defense. Like I just said, top in a lot of categories um, defensively. So um, they've been, I think, yeah, that number 8 in passing defense, um, number 7 in rushing defense, things like that. And the biggest one has been like the scoring defense, which they lead the league in scoring. Um, let's see if I can find any other stats. Can't find any really. I thought I had them, but yeah, but they've been one of the top team in scoring defense, and so a lot of the you know that's and that really kind of just speaks to like how some of these games have been close. If you notice, like the Texans haven't really gotten blown out in a lot of these games, especially in a Rams game. And I think the Rams game, that was probably like the one where they probably had I think that might have been the one where they just really had a wide receiver just go off. That was Puka Nakua. He finished the game with like I think like 10 catches, 100 some yards maybe. But he definitely, yeah, definitely finished with over 100 yards. But even then, with his stat line, they just really didn't, blow them out of the water in that particular game. Same thing with Tampa game. The Tampa game, they were like super, super, like it wasn't even super close. They almost won the game. You know what I'm saying? And it just so happened that they gave up a couple of big plays. Um, as far as like in the last minute of the game, they gave up a rushing touchdown, and they, you know what I'm saying, to as a game winning touchdown. But aside from all that, they've really just been in these games. And the thing that's been keeping them back from winning is the offense, the inefficiency of the offense. And still, despite all that, the defense has still had to like play hard. A lot of these games, especially these first three games, the Texans offense really hasn't came alive until, the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the defense that's really been kind of, they might give up a big play early in the first quarter or first half or something like that. But through those 3.5 quarters almost, you know what I'm saying, they're really holding things down and kind of trying to get the offense to be put in a position to win this game. So, um, yeah, I think that's that's being top in a lot of the categories just kind of speaks to like the resilience and the production that this team has had. So shout out to them for saying keeping that production and you know actually making that being effective. Um, as far as like the most important pieces on this defense, I have to go with Petrie, Hunter, and Anderson. And if I'm being quite honest, I think Petrie is really starting to show out as like the key component of this defense. Uh, against the Ravens, he had 2 interceptions in that game. Um, I believe it was the Jacksonville game where he had an interception to kind of set things up to really yeah, he had an interception to set things up and just give the Texans some momentum in that fourth quarter to go out and like try to win this game. So I think it's really charge it down. So yeah, I think he's really been a crucial component in these last 3 games for sure. As far as like getting this team and just getting solidifying this defensive unit, as far as like helping put away some of these games and actually just keeping this team within reach of winning these games. A couple other pieces, Danielle Hunter and Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. And so with Hunter and Anderson, they've been a solid duo. Um, with Hunter, he's been like I think he's like top 10 in sacks. Has 4 sacks so far this year. For Anderson, he's like number 12 in like tackles for loss, and so definitely that means something. If anything, you know what I'm saying. I think it's just you're gonna need if you can't get it done. If they somehow can't get it done with this secondary, which is a very much young secondary, with Lassiter and Bullock back there, you know what I'm saying? At least you can count on 2 veteran guys, Hunter being obviously the veteran, Anderson being the younger veteran. 2 of those guys to like come in and just pair up and really get into the backfield and just kind of disrupt things. You know what I'm saying? Push offenses back. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's very crucial. Those 2 are going to be very crucial in kind of stalling the offenses as well, making sure that hey, you know what I'm saying? These while our offense is kind of figuring things out, let's kind of keep their offense at bay. Let's kind of push them off, get them out of rhythm, and all those things like that. So definitely, Petrie definitely is emerging as the supreme X factor on this defense, but also cannot discount what Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are doing on this unit as well. Strengths and weaknesses. So maybe I kind of touched on it and explained it a little bit, or jumped the gun a little bit when I was talking about top of the major league categories, and just pretty much got my thoughts screwed up. Strengths and weaknesses. Strengths, I believe, is the passing game, or excuse me, the passing defense. Um, for this defense, um, like I said, a lot of these categories that they kind of bump themselves up in, I feel like it's been a result of the last couple weeks. They held the Baltimore Ravens to 10 points, but before that, they actually held the Tennessee Titans. They actually shut them out, and so but the scoring thing, they've all been kind of like that's been like their MO like this entire year. I think at one point they were the only winless team to hold a team under 20 points or under 17 points or something like that. It was like a whole bunch of teams. I think it was like 10 teams that held every opponent under 20 points up throughout the season. I think might have been through 3 games. And the Texans were the only team that were just didn't have a win out of that group. So they've always been a low scoring. They always been a defense that prides itself on preventing scores and all that. But I also, like I said, I also think that kind of really speaks to that passing defense. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where Petrie is kind of has to get his just due, playing in that nickel spot. And what I'm saying, just kind of leading that secondary a little bit because if you think about it, the passing game, you disrupt that. You're preventing, a lot of teams from actually getting quicker chances, to put points on the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you can run the ball all day, but, it's going to run the clock down and all that other stuff. But, putting the ball in there is definitely going to get them quicker towards the end zone and all that. So I think definitely kind of slowing those aerial attacks down from the opponents is definitely helping become a factor in keeping the low scores and disrupting a lot of offenses that they're facing. And even with that, you can kind of see Jacksonville was kind of struggling against that. And with Jacksonville, they also had a lot of receivers drop passes, but you know what I'm saying? It's also, but they also, just had a real struggle against our pass defense aside from the drop passes. So definitely that's a strength that we have right now, just defending the pass. Weakness has to be the missed tackles. And let me see if I can pull that stat up. I think we lead the league in missed tackles right now. I just seen it in. Maybe I didn't. There it goes. So, no, we don't. But we are top 5, if I can count. Yes, top 5. So, top 5 in missed tackles, and I've noticed that being a problem like since the beginning of the season. Like for whatever reason, we've just have not tackled well, and my main critique of that was I felt the Texans were going after the big hit. And so I noticed that in the Rams game, they were just hitting dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like, hell, I think they even knocked out Puka in the first half or something. And so, what I'm saying? They were just really laying it down they were just really laying it down. Pause. They were just really, they were just really knocking these dudes around. I guess another pause or whatever. But they were just really, just delivering big hits out there. And so, yeah, I think once they saw that they can do that in that game, I felt like they were trying to chase that in the subsequent games. And so, with that being said, like them just going, they just found themselves going out there trying to emulate that and just get that going time and time again. And so, I think that's what kind of happened with the. I think that's kind of happened. What kind of happened as far as like the missed tackles go? Because even then, the very next week, they had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you could kind of see that they were kind of trying to deliver those hits again, and some of them just weren't connecting, because of the techniques, because of the angles. It just wasn't happening for them, and so it really cost them. I believe it was the fourth down, uh, where Tua missed the sack on Baker Mayfield. He could have got him, like, sacked him on fourth down, but he just missed it, and probably wasn't even a sack. It might have been just like a tackle. You know what I'm saying? And he might have got a couple yards or whatever. But if he stops him right then and there, the game is pretty much over. But instead, Baker dodges that. He runs for like a first down or whatever, and the drive is extended. And so it's just it's just frustrating because it's like, this is a great defense. And when you think of great defenses, you think of big hits, but you also think of, like, what I'm saying, sound tackling, techniques, things like that. And for them to just kind of just have that sloppiness of tackling, it just wasn't it. You know what I'm saying? So um I think that's a weakness that they have to work on. Right now they're, top five in that category, but I think, as the season goes on, and definitely with this bye week, they should be able to work on that, and they should be able to just kind of improve things from there. Offense. Man. This, oh my God. Offense has aged us all. I'm telling you, we're discussing this offense. I don't ever, oh my God. I'm going to take a week off from hearing the words offensive line this entire bye week. And as any Texans fan should, that's really been kind of the thing. Like, they've, it's just been a slow progression. And it started off with so many things. They've um, they they switched to we got a new offensive coordinator, obviously, Nick Caley, in the off season. And then the offensive line just being switched up. It seemed like the first 2 weeks, um, it just came in like bad. And it was just a lot of things that was kind of like really just kind of it was just a lot of things that was just really kind of progressing and just changing around. Just a lot of moving parts, no consistency, had injuries on top of injuries. Joe Mixon, he's out, and there's still questions about when he's going to actually come back. Um, we had injuries along the O line, and hell, Christian Kirk was out for those first 2 or 3 games or whatever, and so it's been a real it's been a real tough it's been a real tough go at it, especially those first 3 games, just 0-3. And the toughest part about those games is, like, we could have won them. Like, what I'm saying, we were definitely in those games, um, and it just seemed like mistakes at the end, on both sides of the ball, mind you, but damn it, just like mistakes offensively that we could have done, that happened. You know what I'm saying? And so, especially in that Jacksonville game, it felt like we were going to win that, and Stroud just, he throws that interception. It was just bad. So those first 3 games, tough. Just tough. That's and that's being nice, but what I'm saying, it is what it is. Last 2 games, it's shown a little hope, and you don't want to kind of get caught up in the moment, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, these last 2 games have shown a little hope. Now, I mentioned earlier, the offensive line, um, they've allowed 2 sacks in these last 2 games, and considering how this offensive line has performed throughout the years, like, you don't want to hear that at all. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that to be improvement, but and the reality is that is an improvement from this offensive line, going from 3 sacks a game to 2 sacks a game. So it seems to be a little bit more improvement in the production. CJ Stroud's numbers have picked up. Hell, he had 244 yards passing in last weekend's game against the Ravens, and 4 touchdowns. So things are heading in the right direction. There's some hope that's being shown with this offense. And on top of that, Nico Collins, he's getting a little bit more burn. Christian Kirk, he's getting a little bit more. Uh, indoctrinated into this offense. The Iowa State kids, man, Noel Higgins, they're getting a little bit more um, emulated or integrated in this offense. You know what I'm saying? And so it's really coming together. And looking at some of these stat lines, CJ's really throwing the ball around. You know what I'm saying? So he's really distributing to all these different receivers. So it's going to help in keeping these defenses guessing on what needs to happen. So I definitely think we're on the right track with that. Um, the running game, Nick Chubb, Woody Marks, I think they've done well for who they are. I feel like this is primarily going to rely on CJ's arm, and so that's why it's imperative that this offensive line just really clicks and protects him a little bit more. Because I feel like a lot of it is going to be, based off what he can do through the air. And, the ground game is going to come to just maybe extend drives and kind of sustain drives and things like that. So, definitely, things are going to be on the way for them. So, season outlook. Man. I think the optimistic side of me is this team is going to get better. There's no question about it. Like, they have the week off. They can kind of regroup. They can kind of put things in the place where they need to put them. Um, but I think this team is definitely going to get better. They're trending in the right direction right now. And, that could be a good thing that, hey, they got it going. They going to go look at what they've done. They can build off of what they've done so far, all the positives, and then just take it from there, come out like game busters. The flip side of that is that they're going to lose a little momentum and they're going to kind of revert back to their old ways. Hopefully, that's not the case because this schedule is not friendly at all. Like, before the season, you probably would have been like, okay, there's a couple easy wins on here. We got this. But after the 5 games that we just had, this schedule is looking spooky. Like, they come back next Monday night to face the Seahawks. After that, they're going to be at home against the 49ers. Mind you, the 49ers have had injury issues as well. I think George Kittle is still out. But on top of that, they've been missing their quarterback, Brock Purdy. He's been out, and yet they're still winning football games. So that's going to be an interesting. It's going to be an interesting conundrum when they come around. Denver Broncos, they've been balling out as well. We come back and we have a rematch with Jacksonville on the 10th. Um, Next up is, yeah, after that is Tennessee. Will be rematched with Tennessee. Then the schedule the schedule gets crazier. We have a 3 game stretch against Buffalo, Indianapolis, and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's going to be a nasty, nasty 3 game stretch. I'm gonna say 3.5 because the Cardinals is like right after that, and I think they might be at the bottom of the NFC West right now. Right now, but ain't no telling how they're gonna turn things around if they turn things around. But that Buffalo, Indianapolis, and Kansas City game is gonna be stressful. Like all those I know Kansas City has came out the gate as far as like stumbling and everything, but even then they've actually had some good weeks recently. So their offense is starting to click, and they're supposed to be getting Rasheed Rice back pretty soon. So that's going to be interesting on that part. So yeah, just looking at the schedule, we still got the Colts twice. We got them the weekend. I guess the weekend of the Thanksgiving games, and then we had them like on the final regular season. So it's going to be a tough schedule, and I like if the Texans can like really improve on what they've done in these last two and they can really improve on what they've done in these last 2 games and just enhance that. I definitely think that this team can really give they can really give some they can really like make some noise. And will they be able to reclaim the AFC South? Uh, I don't know, cause Indy's pretty good right now. Jacksonville's pretty good right now. No telling how long that's when that if they're going to hit a bump in the road. If either of those teams are going to hit a bump in the road later in the season, and the Texans, catch a little fire and just make things real interesting. Um, but I will say this: it's going to be a fight. It's not going to be an easy task. So that's why this bye week is so important. It's important for the Texans to like kind of get their minds relaxed, get their bodies relaxed and healed up and everything, and then just kind of attack the game from a mental perspective. You know what I'm saying? Because this is still very much a talented team. They have some great pieces on offense. They have some great pieces on defense. You know what I'm saying? They just have to find out how they can just overcome all the negatives that have happened and just really come into the rest of the season with a lot more positives and just, what I'm saying, just really finish out and try to reclaim the expectations that a lot of people had for this team. So if they can do that during this bye week, I think they'll be excellent going forward. So, that's all I got for y'all. I went over my time. This is supposed to be a bye week. I was supposed to be chilling. I am not chilling. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. But that's all I got for y'all this week. If you're watching this video on YouTube, like my page, hit that like this video, hit that subscribe button to subscribe to my channel. If you are watching this on Facebook, facebook.com/BrandonBlog. Like my page, like this video, share this video with any and everybody that you know, hate, or tolerate. So, um, that's all I got. I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.